Hi, I am Canadian Pableo of BME2. I am here to discuss about the topics found in Chapter 1, ICTs and Teacher Education, Global Context and Framework. Later, we will discover about the traditional view of the learning process, changes in views of the learning process, the shift from teaching to learning, and the supporting theories. So, let's proceed to that traditional view of the learning process. As shown in Figure 1.1, information transfer model of learning, the teacher acts as the repository of information and knowledge. Similarly, it was teacher-centered. Furthermore, it is somewhat broadcast model of learning, where the teacher himself moderates and regulates the flow of information and knowledge. The student shows minimal engagement in the discovery of the topic. Needless to say, that the traditional learning process creates passive learners, where students sit and listen while the teacher discusses the concepts. The traditional educational paradigm is often characterized by the following views of learning. First is learning is hard. Many view learning as a difficult and often tedious process. Accordingly, if students are having fun or enjoying what they are doing in learning activity, they probably are not learning. Learning is serious in traditional approach. Thus, enjoyment is a sign that the student does not value learning, therefore acquires nothing. Learning is based on a deficit model of the student. The system strives to identify deficiencies and weaknesses of the student, in contrast to the current system where students are focused on enhancing their strength as well as reinforcing their weaknesses. In traditional view, the lesson is focused only on teaching the students based on what they performed less. Example is that a student don't know basic arithmetic, then the lesson is focused in teaching the student on how to perform. Third, learning is a process of information transfer and reception, emphasizing students reproducing knowledge rather than producing their own knowledge. It is also teacher centered. At present, it emphasizes information oriented, where students reproducing knowledge rather than producing their own knowledge. It hinders the students' potential to produce their own idea or concept about the topic. Reproducing means the students recall or repeat the received or the learned knowledge from the teacher. Next is learning is an individual or solitary process. Different from the current educational system where students work with their peers, exposed in hands-on learning and are actively engaged, students before or in traditional approach work individually at their own level and rate, working by themselves rather than collaborating with other students. Each learners are independent and accountable at their own learning. Most students spend long time working alone at their desk, completing worksheets or repetitive tasks. They wanted more work, allowing them to think for themselves. Next is learning is facilitated by breaking content or instruction into small isolated units. The educational system is often geared more to categorizing and analyzing patches of knowledge than sewing them together. The traditional approach often break instruction into isolated units, meaning there is a little or no connection of the contents in one course to another. There is no application of previous knowledge for future use. In the new view, there is a connection between different areas of study to other area by cutting across subject matter and emphasizing unifying concepts which create a coherent instruction beneficial for future use. Learning is a linear process. Frequently, the textbook or teacher provides only one linear path through a narrowly bounded content area or sequence of standardized instructional units. Linear means one way, or teaching only one way to solve a problem instead of exploring and finding other ways. In mathematics, there are many avenues, or there are many ways, solutions, formulas to use in a specific problem. In factoring a polynomial, for example, completing the squares, prime factorials, or quadratic expression can be used. So there are different ways. Next is changes in views of the learning process. In contrast to the traditional teaching learning paradigm, a new paradigm of teaching learning process is emerged. Learning views in the new paradigm of teaching learning process. First, learning is a natural process. There are different learning, perceptual, and personality styles that must be considered in the design of learning experiences for the individual student. In this new approach, diversity are embraced. Students' individuality, personality, learning styles are taken into action. Lessons are designed to accommodate students' learning styles. Instructional materials driven by ICT are used for audio virtual learners. Next is learning is a social process. Students learn best through interaction and collaboration. Students learn best in collaboration with peers, teachers, parents, and others when they are actively engaged in a meaningful, interesting task, according to Vygotsky, 1978. ICTs provide opportunities for teachers and students to collaborate with others across the country and across the globe. Learning by interaction helps students attain meaningful learning, able to learn from others and respect others' opinion. ICT provides opportunity by providing new tools to support collaborative learning in classroom and online. Teachers, parents, and school administration collaborate in the development of the students, their grades, goals, performances, school policies, the school itself, and etc. Next is learning is an active and not passive process. Allows students to move forward toward competence. They must be actively engaged in the learning process in activities such as solving real problems, producing original writing, etc. Unlike the traditional view where learners are passive, just sitting and absorbing the knowledge given by the teacher, the new approach allows students to actively engage in the discussions, problem solving, science experimentation, research paper, and other methods. These activities develop students' higher order thinking skills, creativity, and critical thinking skills. Learning may either be linear or non-linear. Students learn by augmenting, combining, and rearranging a collection of cognitive maps, many of which overlap or are interconnected through a complex network or of associations. Meaning, a knowledge and concepts in one study is connected to another. For example, statistics is connected to research. So there is a continuity of knowledge and the application of the learned knowledge. Next, learning is integrated and contextualized. The learners must discover everything themselves about the connection between concepts with the help of the teacher. Learners have to discover and make connections between what had seemed to isolated facts of existence is a creative act, whether the field is art or science. Learned informations and skills can be applied to novel and complex issues or challenges. Learning is based on a strength model of students' abilities, interests, and culture. Diversity and individual differences are valued, and the learning process is designed to build on the strength and and assets brought by the learner to the classroom. Individual differences are valued, and the learning process is designed to build on the strengths and assets brought by the learner to the classroom. Activities are planned to satisfy multiple intelligence. Learning is assessed through task completion, products, and real problem solving of both individual and group efforts. Assessments are made using portfolios of actual performance and work in both collaborative and individual learning tasks. Rather than simply paper and pencil tests, authentic assessments are used. The use of multiple assessment methods are encouraged, evaluated through performance based, project based, and portfolio based assessment, individually or by group. Now let's move on to a shift from teaching to learning. Shifting a shift from teacher centered instruction to learner centered instruction is needed to enable students to acquire the new 21st century knowledge and skills. The following table identifies the shift that will take place in changing from a focus on teaching to a focus on learning. Shifting the emphasis from teaching to learning can create a more and interactive, engaged learning environment for teachers and learners. A change from teacher centered, which leads to passive learners, to learner centered, which enables learners to be active or interactive. The role of the teacher will change from knowledge transmitter to the learning facilitator, knowledge guide, knowledge navigator, and co-learner with student. And instruction changes from memorization of facts, which is knowledge level based on Bloom's taxonomy, to inquiry, analysis, creation, evaluation, which follows all levels in Bloom's taxonomy. Gathering facts is changed to transformation of facts, which means applying the facts or concepts into real life context, turning these facts useful in their life. Assessment was changed from paper to paper pencil tests to the use of criterion reference, portfolios, and performances. Authentic assessments allow students to apply the learned knowledge or skills based on the criteria to ensure the attainment of learning objectives. The use of ICT in instruction hugely helps to accommodate learning styles, communication, especially online, and provides access to various learning materials online. Changes in rules between students and teacher offers a smooth or great way for effective learning. In traditional view, the teacher acts as the repository of knowledge, as primary source of information. Teacher controls and directs all aspects of learning. Changing to a new view of learning process, the teacher now facilitate the learning and provides opportunities for students on learning. The teacher cannot dictate what students should do with their learning. Students perform independent learning, acquiring basic and complex skills, from being a passive, individualistic, and reproduce knowledge to being active, engaged, work collaboratively, and produce their own knowledge. This new environment also involves a change in rules of both teachers and students. Now let's go to the theories supporting the new view of the learning process. To illustrate the figure deeply, let's imagine Earth's component. The learners as the core, the center, compacted with knowledge and values, interacted between students, the teacher, information resources, and technology. The third layer, mantle, the rugged part. In teaching learning process, this means that learners are engaged in authentic tasks or activities using authentic tools in an authentic context and assess through an authentic assessment. The outer part, the study, where environment lies, provides the learner with coaching and scaffolding from more knowledgeable others, provides rich collaborative environment enabling the learner to consider and respect diverse and multiple perspectives from fellow and provides opportunity for self-reflection. The new views of the learning process and the shift to student-centered learning have emerged based in cognitive learning research and the confluence of several theories that have informed our understanding of the nature and context of learning. These theories based on the same underlying assumptions that learners are active agents, purposely seeking and constructing knowledge within a meaningful context. The learning environment that may be derived from the view of the learning process is shown in the picture. So let's move on to the student-centered environment illustrated in the picture shows that the learner interacts with other students, the teacher, information resource, and technology. The learner engages in an authentic task in authentic context using authentic tools and assess through authentic performance. Constructivist learning process. Learners are active agents who engage in their own knowledge construction by integrating new information into their schema or mental structures. Learning process is seen as a process of meaning making in socially, culturally, historically, and politically situated context. Students construct their own knowledge by testing ideas and approaches based on their prior knowledge and experience, applying these to new tasks, contexts, and situations, and integrating new knowledge gained with pre existing intellectual constructs. Provides opportunities for learners to experience multiple perspectives. The constructivist learning environment also emphasizes authentic assessment of learning rather than the traditional paper pencil tests. Constructivism view learners as an active agent who engage in their own knowledge construction by integrating new information into schema. Learners participates in meaning making and in various contexts. Individual construct reality by reflecting on his own experience and giving meaning to it. As students explore, conceptualize, analyze, and evaluate on their own. Next is Vygotsky's sociocultural theory. Vygotsky emphasizes the rule of social interaction. He believed that everything is learned in two levels. First, through interaction with others, and then integrated into individuals' mental structure. Learning can be acquired through interaction between peers, family, or more knowledgeable others or MTOs. This person influences the growth of the learners as models. Or teachers or teaches the learners basic concepts in a certain field which the learners seek to understand and use. Second, the idea that the potential for cognitive development is limited to a zone of proximal development. The zone of proximal development is the area of exploration for which the student is cognitively prepared but requires help and interaction to be developed. An expert provides assistance or scaffolding to support the learner's evolving understanding of knowledge domains or development of complex skills. The implication of Vygotsky theory are that learners should be provided with socially rich environments in which to explore knowledge domains with their fellow students, teachers, and outside experts. John Piaget. Learning occurs through adaptation to interaction with the environment. This equilibrium or mental conflict which demands resolution gives rise to assimilation of a new experience which is added to the existing knowledge of the learner, or to accommodation which is modification of existing understanding to provide for the new experience. The learner has an active role in constructing his or her own knowledge in both of these ideas. As children assimilated new information into their existing mental structure, their ideas gained complexity and power, and their understanding of the world grew in richness and depth. John Piaget's principle is that a new information can be acquired through adaptation and interaction with the environment. This information provides new item and is integrated into structure and place for long-term memory. Jerome Bruner. 3 principles to guide the development of instruction. First is instruction must be concerned with the experiences and context that make the student willing to be able to learn, or readiness. Instruction must be based on students' interests to ensure attention and will encourage the learners to learn. Next, instruction must be structured so that the student can easily grasp it. Spiral organization. Instruction must fit well on students' level of knowledge, not too difficult and complicated. Third, instruction should be designed to facilitate extrapolation and or fill in the gaps, going beyond the information given. Instruction should allow opportunities for the student to think and use educated guess. Next, problem-based learning. The goals of problem-based learning are to develop higher-order thinking skills by providing students with authentic and complex problems and cases, allowing students to experience problem solving much preferably in real world situations rather than presenting facts and concepts. Anchored instruction, an approach to designing instruction that is anchored in a real world context, problem, or situation. Topics, instructions, and methods are anchored in a real-world context, exposing the students in real-world problem. ICT videos provide subsequent learning and instruction. Distributed cognition emphasizes that cognition growth is fostered through interaction with others and involves dialogue and discourse making, private knowledge public, and developing shared understandings. Refers to a process in which knowledge are shared socially in order to extend individual cognitive resources or to accomplish something that an individual agent could not achieve alone. Next, cognitive flexibility theory. This theory asserts that people acquire knowledge in ill-structured domains by constructing multiple representation and linkages among knowledge units. Meaningful learning asserts in construction of multiple representation and linkages among knowledge units. Cognitive apprenticeship. Cognitive apprenticeship is a term for the instructional process in which teachers or more experienced or knowledgeable peers provide scaffolds to support learners' cognitive growth and development. In simple words, MKOs provide assistance to students' cognitive resources. Situated learning. Situated learning emphasizes the use of apprenticeship, coaching, collaboration, authentic context, tasks, activities, and cognitive. Situated learning claims that students learn best when they are actively participating in the learning experience. Lastly, self-regulated learning. Self-regulated learners are those who are aware of their own knowledge and understanding, what they know and what they do not know or need to understand. It combines self-observation, self-judgment, and self-reaction. A cyclical process. Student plans for a task, monitors the performance, and then reflects on the outcome. Self-regulated learners are aware of their own knowledge and understanding. So those are the topics that was adopted in chapter 1. Again, this is Kenjan J. Pableo, a Bachelor in Mathematics Education 2 student. Thank you.